So here we are back at the end of glycolysis. We've got 2 molecules of ATP that have been produced that are going to be used by the cell. We've got 2 molecules of NAD, reduced NAD, which are going to go to the electron transport chain, which we'll be talking about in a couple of weeks. And we've got 2 molecules of pyruvate, which will pass into the mitochondrial matrix, where they will enter the link reaction. And what's going to happen in the link reaction is they're going to be decarboxylated, oxidized, and attached to a molecule called coenzyme A. And that's what you can see here. Okay, if I just pause that for a second, we've got decarboxylation, so we end up with a 2-carbon compound, and the carbon that is produced from that forms carbon dioxide, which is one of the waste products of respiration, and eventually we're going to breathe this out. We also produce 2 molecules of reduced NAD, and that, like the reduced NAD produced in glycolysis, is going to go to the electron transport chain. Okay, and then finally, our 2-carbon compound, which is also called acetyl, is attached to a coenzyme called coenzyme A, forming the product acetyl coenzyme A. And acetyl coenzyme A is the molecule that's going to go into the Krebs cycle, which is the next and very important stage of respiration. Okay, and what's important to remember here, as I said before, is that remember, for each glucose molecule we get 2 molecules of pyruvate, therefore we get 2 molecules of acetyl-CoA, so they're going to feed into the Krebs cycle, and that is going to cycle twice for every glucose molecule, but we'll talk about that a little bit more next week when we come on to the Krebs cycle. Okay, so we just let that finish off. I don't think there's anything else going to happen actually, so let's go to the next slide, if it will let me. Here we go. So, carbon count, our 3-carbon pyruvate becomes 2. But when we're looking at the stuff produced from 1 molecule of glucose, 2 pyruvates, the link reaction produces no ATP. There is no ATP produced in the link reaction. However, we do have 2 molecules of reduced NAD, which is going to go to the electron transport chain, and 2 molecules of acetyl-CoA, which are going to go to the Krebs cycle. Okay, same pattern as before. I have also included, Mr. Pollock Biology. He's talking about the link reaction, another slightly different animation, again, so you can see it from a slightly different point of view. Okay, so that's link reaction. Links glycolysis to the Krebs cycle. It's nice and short. There isn't actually a quiz or an assignment to go with this, but just have a look at glycolysis and the link reaction and be familiar with those before we head into the Krebs cycle next week, because the Krebs cycle takes some thinking about. Okie dokie. So have a lovely weekend, guys, and I will be back on Monday with another video and some work for you to be getting on with, looking at the 3rd stage of respiration, which is the Krebs cycle. Okay, bye.